If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I wanted to do a video covering the Super Bowl commercials for lots of reasons. The Super Bowl, like I've said, it's the most watched show in America every year, and they use these commercials to influence the audience. You'll see tons of repetition and tons of themes, similar themes throughout all of these commercials, because you can see exactly what they're trying to push. Now, I think the big theme that we've seen, which we're continuing to see, is obviously feminism, which I'll get into. They touch a lot on 5G. They touch a lot on space, conditioning people into the whole Mars hoax that's not real, going to Mars and all that stuff. They even talk about fake news and flat Earth, for those of you who are flat Earth fans or globe fans and love to bicker about that. The first thing I really want to discuss is just this commercial that stood out the most. And this is on my website at callforuprising.com. I think most people commented about this commercial, saying, this was the most ridiculous one, really, of all that anyone saw. And that's this Michelob beer commercial, 6 for 6. So they're constantly just saying 666, right? They're going 6 beers, a 6-pack of 6 beers, for 6 people. If everyone gets one, we can save the farms and all that kind of stuff. And it's just unbelievably how ritualistic it is, because you see them doing ritual ceremony dances on the Masonic black and white tile.
Michelob Ultra Pure Gold introduces 6 for 6 pack. Pick up a 6-pack. We'll help transition 6 square feet of farmland to organic. Go for a 6-pack. This can go organic. If everyone who moves like Ben gets one, all of this can turn organic. 6-pack, 6 square feet.
Right? But that's a coincidence, of course, right? As they constantly are saying 6-6 subliminally, right? I thought that was probably the funniest one of all, as far as just being so, so in your face if you're awake, but you know that nobody out there who's asleep has any clue as to what they're seeing. They're like, oh, let's help save the farms. Yeah, they really want to save the farms. I'm sure they want to get rid of Monsanto, and we're going to save all the farmers. Monsanto's going to go out of business, I'm sure. Absolutely. And look, I can go through every single commercial, but that would take a lot of time to break down the color symbolism and the Masonic or satanic occultic symbols in it. But if you're a member of my website, I have it pinned, the Super Bowl, and a lot of people have posted pictures and they're talking about it, interacting with each other. So check it out over there. I'm going to go through the ones that really just stood out to me that I want to show you, because those are the main agendas that I saw. And of course, another thing that they always do, which never gets discussed, is they put in what we've seen over the last 20 years or so. They would put in gay characters, right, in all these TV shows. So just have one in there. So it becomes, you get desensitized from. Well, now they're doing that with the trans. We see this guy who I've covered wearing the dress. He's in a commercial. There's drag queens in commercials for, I think for avocados or for nachos, something along those lines. Hummus, maybe it was. A lot. There was multiple commercials with drag queens in it, and with men who wear female clothing. Okay, this is to desensitize people, to normalize it. They're now sticking it and placing it deliberately in these commercials, so people's brains just become accustomed to it. It becomes normal. It's not a weird thing anymore. And this is how they get all their agendas pushed across, just by subliminally doing that, beating it into your head through repetition. So after those things, the things that really stick out, obviously, let's start with the the just constant commercials with feminism.
Is there enough space in space for women? Who wrote that? Are people really still asking that question?
Operation Make Space for Women is ready for liftoff.
When we make space for women, we make space for everyone.
One tweet equals
$1 to girls who code.
And, talking about space, obviously we all know that they're trying to hoax everyone into this Mars nonsense. You see the Alexa commercial, which is just a complete joke. That's the one that everybody really was talking about, where Ellen is like, what would we do without Alexa? What was the world like? I don't know. Maybe people actually went and hit light switches on their own or lit candles. I mean, they even have mention of witches in the commercial, but it's just such a stupid concept. It shows you how lazy of a society and how they just continue to program people into the need for this technology when, if you think about it, it's completely worthless. It really is. Alexa, turn the lights off. I mean, give me a break.
What do you think people did before Alexa?
Get your news here.
Alex, what's today's news?
Doesn't matter. It's all fake.
Interested. Okay. The earth is flat, and a witch stole his pants.
Yeah, I don't know what people did before Alexa.
And they go on to talk about the earth being flat, right? So obviously that got a lot of people triggered over that, which they constantly do mention in the mainstream now. And of course, they mentioned the fake news, right? Fake news, ha 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 ha. Right? As they continue to program people with this fake news nonsense. Anything that's not the mainstream narrative is considered fake news. Then you have, of course, the women going to space, the women going to Mars. Just a ridiculous concept. We have another commercial where they go to Mars. They get Mars water.
Witnessing history. Water on Mars.
This changes everything.
We just made it.
Okay? And then we see the Walmart commercial, which really features, it's all about aliens and space, right? All these characters from movies. It's actually interesting because you could see just how many movies, and this isn't even touching the core of it. I mean, there's been so many movies that have pushed, aliens and space and spacecraft and life on other planets. And this is a 1-minute spot. You probably forget about a lot of these characters. And here they all are showing up. I mean, you get, even just time travel, space travel, aliens, alien invasion characters, Star Wars characters, Star Trek, I think, is in there. Just repetition, the same constant themes over and over. Then the feminist commercials, right? These are probably the funniest ones, where we get these commercials that constantly, and again, that was one of the women going to space thing, which Trump even discussed in his State of the Union address, which is hilarious. You get the normalizing of this, right? This accepting of, women playing football, for example. Football is known as this manly, probably the manliest sport. I guess hockey's probably more physical this day and age, especially because you can still, fight and do stuff in hockey. But they have the women, they take the helmet off. Everyone gasps. There's 2 women. One's a kicker. One's a holder, right? And I've said this before. Look, if they want, they use these things to trick people into thinking that there's no equality, right? That's what they use these things for. They're like, oh, why can't a woman play football? I don't know. I mean, that's fine. But just remember, a man could come down, flying down the field and tackle her and hit her as hard as he wants. What are they going to, call the police for domestic violence or something? I mean, think about it. Can I go play in the WNBA? I mean, get myself in shape. I'm sure I could go play in the WNBA. I'll tell you right now, I mean, that's not trying to be sexist or anything like that. This is what they're doing with sports, is they're blurring the lines, right? The commercial with the assistant coach of the 49ers, they show her teaching, of course she's gay, she's teaching the football players how to play, even though she's never played football. They show her playing football, I shouldn't say that. But, she's teaching, and then she's talking about, how this is just empowering for women. And, the funny thing about the way the game turned out, if you watch the game, is that a lot of people blamed the offense of the San Francisco 49ers. They lost the game, they choked at the end, and they blamed the head coach. Well, this girl's the offensive assistant, but nobody's going to, she's an offensive specialist assistant or something along those lines, and nobody's asking any questions about her. You go, oh boy. I mean, we have females in male sports, and they miss a kick to win a game. Are you allowed to criticize them? I mean, or is it sexist?
We have all these assumptions about what women do in life and what men do.
I'm glad my daughter's old enough to see this and understand how significant it is.
I'm not trying to be the best female coach. I'm trying to be the best coach.
The stuff that they do, the stuff that they put out there, and then the 5G stuff, right? We have Verizon talk about 5G. Verizon playing off the emotions of people, trying to say we're not forcing 5G on you, that people are still needed, right? Firefighters still needed. This is a very, very just deceitful way to get people engaged in 5G technology without forcing it on them, but really forcing it on them. And then Google, the one commercial that everybody was talking about. And of course, the mainstream media picked up on. They said that was the most touching commercial. The theme of it is this guy can't really, I don't know if he has Alzheimer's, he's just old. He wants to remember his wife who's passed. And of course, Google knows everything. It knows everything about his wife. And how perfect of subliminal mind control is this? Because they play the piano in the background. They make people cry, because that's what they're claiming that people were crying. I don't know how anyone could cry during a commercial, but what they're doing is they're playing on your heartstrings, right? Put yourself in that position. Oh, you're old. Oh, your loved one. You don't remember them. You're sick. You're dying. And thankfully, Google has all this information for you. And maybe it could help cure Alzheimer's, because it could constantly remind you every morning of who your wife was and, oh, the life you lived and trips you went on and things you did together. Meanwhile, the concern should be, why does Google have all this information? Why would we want to give them the information? Well, this is how they subliminally trick people into wanting to give their data and info and privacy away to the government. Because, hey, then they'll remember all your memories and remind you of it when you're dying of Alzheimer's, but don't question why you have Alzheimer's. It's not from the vaccinations. It's not from the chemtrails and the fluoride and all the other side effects that we get from the chemical baths they give us. Unbelievable how strategic and sick these people are. That's what they do. That Google commercial is the perfect example of mind control. Because after people watched it, they were teary-eyed. They said it was so sweet, so adorable, and they didn't even realize the message behind it. That Google had all of this information saved and stored on this woman and this man's marriage, on their entire lives. It knew their every move, everything they did, all the places they went. Oh, but you're just, sorry, it's just me. I'm a crazy conspiracy guy, right? Because we should all just give our privacy away to the government because they could be so trusted. Give it all to Google. They won't do anything with it. Oh, but what do we have to hide, right? That's the big thing that the zombies say. I don't have to hide anything. Let them have my information. Boy. It's the world we live in now, folks. They're getting better and better at this, but that's always been one of their tactics. And that's the same with the 5G commercial, right? We're not going to push 5G on you. 5G can't fight a fire. It can't be a police officer, a military veteran. And people go, yeah, we're still needed. But maybe this 5G thing will help speed things up so I can watch the game faster. Idiots. A world of idiots being programmed through mind control. And then they go, no, these commercials aren't here to influence. They're to sell product. I mean, like I couldn't even tell you the percent of the commercials that weren't even selling a product, but were selling social engineering. You even have the beer commercial. They're not even trying to sell you the beer. They're selling you USA, USA, right? Budweiser selling you, being proud to be an American. Right? And people go, well, yeah, but that's how they sell the beer. Because then you're like, oh, you see Budweiser, you think of the commercial, you go buy the beer. Right? Unbelievable, folks. Anybody else saw anything out there that's worth pointing out? Obviously, I took notes while I watched it, and I put things down. Some things I just decided not to cover. I know there's a lot of stuff. There's a ton of commercials. I just felt those were the main things that I saw, and I wanted to cover the Michelob one because of the 666 and the 666 and the tile, the Masonic tile. It just made me crack up because it was so ridiculous. And that's like the type of commercial. No one will notice it. No one will think anything of it. And of course, the same agendas, right? Feminism being the big one. Planting trans and drag queen characters in these commercials, normalizing it, desensitizing people. And of course, the technology, 5G technology. Give Google your information. Use heartfelt messaging to get people to give up this stuff, to be okay with getting rid of their privacy. Space, the Mars nonsense, the alien nonsense, which they're pushing real hard right now. Again, I want to remind everybody, please check out my website if you haven't seen it, or become a member yet at callfornuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. I upload videos over there. I'm working on getting new stuff on there. There's a live chat. You can DM, interact with each other. The forum, it's like a Reddit forum. It's worth the price itself. It's a great place for great information. People are sharing stuff. There's a prayer wall. You can go and you can fellowship with other Christians if you're a Christian, or if you're somebody who's lost and needs to be found or just needs help or life advice. It's all over there. It's a great community of people. So check it out if you haven't. I want to thank the Patreons again. Your support, this channel continues on YouTube. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. God bless you and your families.